What's going on, everybody? Certainly this has been embarrassing to Miami. I was sitting by some NFL scouts during the game, and they got up and left and said it's a sad day in Miami football. There's no doubt about that. Right now, I'm kind of just waiting for Mario Cristobal and the players to speak to the media. I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to post my full post-game comments afterwards, but definitely want to hear what they have to say. There's a lot in my mind, so I definitely want to get back to it, but no doubt, embarrassing, sad, disappointing, frustrating, all those things that we've been talking about all season long. To do this in a rivalry game with a good crowd, it's just unspeakable. We'll get to it. I'm going to definitely hear what these guys have to say and get some more thoughts in my mind, but it's just a tough one. So I'm right outside the stadium. Miami loses 45-3, as I mentioned. Embarrassing loss. Coach Cristobal spoke. Definitely got to check out the channel and see his comments. Players spoke as well. You can definitely check that out. But right now, I'm outside the stadium, and right across from me, I could see the recruiting area. And right now, it's after the game. All the fans have left, a lot of reporters, but the recruits are still there. And I'm sure the coaches are there talking to them. And I know they want to definitely get these guys in place as soon as possible and let them know that they could be a part of the future. It's going to be difficult, but we'll see how everything transpires. There are a lot of recruits at the game tonight. Definitely check out the InsideTheU.com article on that. So also, as I'm sitting here, I just noticed some balloons, some orange, white, and green balloons floating away. And I kind of thought of that a way the season has floated away and just gone to complete mess. So 4-5 after this loss, 2-3 in the ACC. There's two things I want to talk about right from the jump. Definitely drop in the comments. I appreciate you guys for watching and still tuning into this team that's been full of disappointment this year. Two things I want to get into, and that's offensive coordinator Josh Gattis and defensive coordinator Kevin Steele. We've talked a lot about players. Obviously, they deserve blame. You know, Mario Cristobal, for the season that this team has had, certainly deserves blame for all of that. However, I want to talk about the coordinators today. I really didn't like either one of their game plans. I thought both of them were out-coached by far. I think that's what led to the big loss. And essentially, let's start on offense with Josh Gattis, unable to get the passing game going. We've talked about this all season long. 62 passing yards, 10 for 19 as a team. 3 different quarterbacks were in there. Ja'Carri Brown was in there. You saw a little bit of a glimpse there. However, he only had 37 passing yards, so he didn't get it going. They didn't let him throw the ball as much as you would think. 19 pass attempts in a game where you're blown out. I don't understand that. And there were things with the passing game that in particular, I didn't think they targeted certain guys. I thought they could have done that a little bit better. And Tyler Van Dyke did everything he could to get on the field and get back for this game. I'm not surprised by that, but based on how he still talks about last year's loss to Florida State, you knew he was going to try to get out here. It sounded like he was going to give it a go, and you saw watching pregame warm-ups. He was doing okay. He looked good. You wouldn't have really thought there was completely something wrong with him. And then clearly, it didn't take much for him to re-aggravate the shoulder, and then he tries to, go on the sideline, warm it up a little bit, gets back in there, makes a terrible throw because of his arm. And the coaches, as soon as it happened, I said, that's it, that'll do it for him. And sure enough, just only a few seconds later, he comes out of the game, because you could just clearly see if he could have made that throw physically, he would have. Restrepo was there. It looked like he could have made a nice throw, and he just couldn't do it. So Van Dyke goes down. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens the rest of the season with him, if he's going to get back in there, if they're going to just sit him out. And really this all comes down to Ja'Carri Brown, because clearly he was a guy that the coaches spoke about moving forward. He gets promoted over Jake Garcia. And one of the things with Josh Gattis in the offense, and look, nothing was working. They couldn't get the run game going either. They couldn't get the pass game. Nothing was working, and they couldn't do anything to do anything positive for this Florida State offense. Miami has not scored a touchdown now in 2 straight games. 3 games overall this season. It's unbelievable. 3 times that they've not scored a touchdown in a game. They've only played 9 games. And then another one of those games where they did score a touchdown that had 8 turnovers. So it's just been a complete disappointment with the offense. Josh Gattis deserves a lot of blame, because he's not been able to figure out the right pieces, have the best, have a good offense built around it. And he wants to go with this certain style, and it's just not working for all kinds of reasons. I don't like that there's this negative vibe with the offense, a lot of things going on. I felt going into this game that regardless of how the season's gone, you've got to find a way to just play a really good game this game. You've got a great atmosphere. great crowd. It's your rival. Florida State's good. Obviously, they're better than Miami, but you got to figure out a way to just win this game. Play well today, and they just couldn't do that and not even come close. You're not competitive. You get embarrassed. It's another terrible loss. It's the same thing. You guys tune into me each and every week. It's either a terrible loss or an ugly win, and that's kind of sums up the season. So the offense, I don't know where they're going to go from here. 3 games left. We keep waiting to see what's going to happen, but they're actually regressing. They're getting worse, not scoring touchdowns, the 3 points today. Before last week, last week they score 4 field goals and get the 2-point conversion in 4th overtime. So they at least put up some points today. Nothing going. They got Clemson in 2 weeks. That doesn't look like it's going to be a good one. And Georgia Tech actually, with the coaching change, gets another win. So Miami's got to go on the road to win that, and we'll see. It's hard to predict anything positive with this team, with what we've seen so far, and again after today. So certainly a lot of criticism, and rightfully so, to Josh Gaddis and the offense and what's gone on there. However, with Kevin Steele, what happens on defense again, 45 points, giving up 45 points once again this year. Way too many points. You cannot do that, and you're giving up big plays week in and week out. And he kind of blasted a reporter in the press conference, and some people liked it and some people didn't. Regardless, the facts are Miami's been giving up big plays all year long, and they did so again tonight. Give up big plays, give up the big touchdown. They did it in the air and on the ground. So just giving up a lot of big plays, and it's certainly not how you want to construct a defense. Also defensively, the big thing that stood out to me tonight was Florida State was able to run the ball at will and also pass at will, over 200 yards each, very balanced. Whatever they wanted to do, Jordan Travis looked very comfortable throughout the game. Only a few incompletions. He had the big pass play to Wilson to start it off. Also had some nice scrambles. On 3rd downs, they were really good. Kevin Steele's defense couldn't do anything to slow down Florida State, and I think Kevin Steele deserves a lot of blame on this one for how his defense performed in this game, giving up way too many points. Florida State definitely out-coached them, and it showed on the scoreboard. Kevin Steele's got to figure out a way to have a better defensive performance, especially in a rivalry game, whatever that might be, whether it's different personnel, different scheme, figuring out what the other team is doing, whatever it might be. You've got to be able to do different things. You've got to be able to slow down a team. You cannot allow 45 points, and there's been other games where sometimes the score gets out of hand because the offense is, putting them in bad spots, but you just can't keep giving up a bunch of points. And the defense was just not doing anything productive. And one of the things about big plays, when you talk to a lot of coaches or people that analyze football, they say if you just limit the big plays, you'll have a chance to win games. Sometimes big plays can decide a game. So the fact that Miami's been so poor in that area, you'd much rather have a bend but don't break, or just kind of stay in the middle of the field. I don't understand why big plays continue to happen. There's ways to scheme your defense. If you got to drop safeties back, if you're not allowed to play as much man coverage as you would like because of your personnel, whatever it might be, if you've got to put extra guys on the field, or maybe you got to blitz more with different packages, there's ways to do it. There's teams that don't give up big plays, and Miami's been last, in the hundreds in big plays in a lot of these categories, 20, 30, 40, all the way down. So it continues to happen. I think everybody would understand if it's a one game off type of situation, but these kind of things continue to pile up, and this is why this team is just not a very good team this year. It's not what anybody expected, and it's hard to expect anything positive, as I mentioned, moving forward. So where does this team go moving forward? Again, 3 games left in the regular season, at Georgia Tech, at Clemson, and then Pittsburgh at home. I was looking for this team to maybe get something positive out of this season by beating Florida State. Instead, you've gotten embarrassed. It went completely on the other direction. I thought winning a bowl game would be a positive, and now it looks like they're not going to make a bowl game. Dropping to 4-5, they've got to get a couple more wins to do that, and that'd be a very disappointing performance. There's no doubt about it. And I think the big thing, too, is look, everybody thinks or hopes this thing's going to get turned around. And once again, I'm still seeing a bunch of recruits over at the recruiting area. They're filing out now, but it's late here. It's after midnight. I think if we're looking at maybe something to look for moving forward, this team needs a jolt on offense, on the team, whatever it might be, whoever it might be. And I think the quarterback position is a way to do that. Also, it's a way to hopefully get your team going when it's not going well. But anyways, at this point, with the jolt on the team, I think a lot of people are wondering, can Jakari Brown be that jolt? You saw him not only pick up some yards, again, the passing numbers weren't very good, but he was able to provide a little bit of an energy, and I know he does like to play that way. And the one thing I will say about Jakari is, and particularly with young guys in general, I think Jake's the same way, but although Jake's not performing very well, the pick was certainly It was definitely a bad play by Jake on that one where, just can't happen when you get in there as they're rotating the quarterbacks in. But with Jakari, this could be a baseline for him moving forward, and that's what everyone hopes with young players, especially quarterbacks, but guys with talent where the 37 yards or whatever it might be, but maybe grows from it. And I think maybe this final month of the season, whoever it might be, you just want to find something positive to build on, something tangible that the coaches can show the recruits in particular, or everybody on this team that, yes, we can go in the right direction. So we'll see how everything goes. We're going to talk about this plenty. Hopefully you guys have some comments. I know you do. I know you guys want to keep chiming in. Real quick though, shout out to the fans and the tailgates who said hello and introduced themselves and said hi. So I'm glad you guys are supportive of the channel. We'll see how things go moving forward. Thanks again for tuning in to this one. If you're still here to the end, you guys are diehard Miami fans, and that's really where a lot of the pain I feel is for you guys, because you guys don't want to see this. It's hard showing up to the stadium. It's going to be hard going to work on Mondays, because if you know some Florida State fans are going to give it to you, and rightfully so, the way this one turned out. So hang in there. We'll see if we can get this thing turned around. Stay tuned, stay locked in. Hopefully have a good rest of the weekend and get over this loss as soon as possible, because unfortunately these losses just keep piling up. The 2022 season can't come to an end soon enough, but it will. Only a few more weeks. We'll see if anything positive can happen out of it. So anyways, take care. Appreciate you guys.